I'm leaving. There's no point waiting for that Haruna girl, and besides, the game's already begun. And there you have it. May we meet again. And with a smile, Tsukasa left the conference room. He really did leave. If he wants to pull the whole lone wolf act, let him be. Better stick tight with a reliable group than some pain in the ass, yeah? Well, I suppose it is hard to keep disturbers of the peace in the group.
The
one of the rest of us here will all work together in the group. Sound good? Everyone else nodded at Daisuke's proposal. Well, that settles it. Let's get out of this place for now. We'll make finding those cubes and securing provisions our first priority, like we discussed earlier. Roger that. Alrighty then. Let's go, guys. Okay. Right as they were all charging ahead in high spirits. Sorry, but I gotta go to the bathroom first. Okay. Damn it, why'd you have to go and kill the mood like that? Sorry, don't wait up for me. Shuhei apologized and left the conference room. Okay. Once Shuhei confirmed that his 4 companions had left the building, he sprung into action. Though he claimed he had to use the bathroom, that had been a lie. He simply had unfinished business he had to take care of. However, having multiple people around would make that tricky, so he came up with an excuse so he could do it alone. Shuhei slowly opened and closed the door. Hey admin, you listening? I got one more thing I want to check with you. Of course, my question relates to the game itself. By all means, ask. The same voice from earlier spoke back through the intercom. Is there any sort of reward for beating the game? Shuhei's unexpected question appeared to have left the administrator at a loss for words. But after a momentary silence, there are various conditions involved, but the winners will be given whatever their heart desires. One more question then. Is it possible to voluntarily replay this game? Yes, if that is what the victor so desires. Okay, so in conclusion, it wouldn't be all that unusual for players who voluntarily wish to play the game again to be participating? If not, then it didn't make sense why all the players hadn't shown up to the briefing. We shall leave that to your imagination. Figured. I'll move on to my next question. That conversation had given him his answer. Pressing the administrator any further would likely prove a fruitless endeavor. So Shuhei re-railed his train of thought and asked another question. Is it possible for our clear conditions to change partway through? I am having trouble gauging the purpose of your question. The administrator hadn't given a clear answer to the question. It wasn't a yes, and it wasn't a no, meaning he couldn't answer. Though Shuhei now had confidence in his theory, he continued nonetheless.
俺がそう思う根拠は説明会の最中にお前が言った言葉だ。
The reason I think that is because of something you said during the briefing.
覚えてるか？俺があんたに説明を求めた時のこと。
Remember when I asked you about the risk of revealing information to others?
他のプレイヤーに自身の情報を知られてしまうのにはリスクがあります。
There was a risk in revealing information to other players.
例えば、誰かのクリア条件が2のプレイヤーの死亡となった場合、2のプレイヤーは常に命を狙われることとなります。
For example, in the event a player's clear condition became player 2 dies, they ended up trying to kill the two.
他にも、3のプレイヤーのクリア条件を2のプレイヤーの生存とした場合、
On the other hand, in the event that player 3's clear condition was player 2 survives,
2のプレイヤーを殺害すると3のプレイヤーの首輪は爆発します。
player 3's collar would detonate for player 2 to die.
つまり、プレイヤーナンバーとクリア条件、特殊機能の内容が他のプレイヤーに漏れれば、危険が増す場合があるでしょう。
In other words, there are cases where revealing your player number, clear condition, and special functions to others would put you in greater danger.
他のプレイヤーと協力関係を結ぶにしても、互いのクリア条件の相性が重要ということです。
Should you team up with other players, it is vital that you all share compatible clear conditions.
あんたは確か誰かのクリア条件が2のプレイヤーの死亡になった場合って言ったな。
If I remember correctly, you said, in the event a player's clear condition became player 2 dies, right?
なったって明らかに変化した場合の表現だろう。
The usage of the word became clearly implies that there's some sort of change involved.
もちろんこの程度の言い間違いは誰にでもよくあることだ。だが
Of course, everyone makes a slip of words like that all the time. However,
その次の説明では3のプレイヤーのクリア条件を2のプレイヤーの生存とした場合と言った。
right after that, you said, in the event that player 3's clear condition was player 2 survives,
同じ過程のはずなのにどうして言い回しが違うんだ。
you're using the same example here, so why'd you use a different choice of words?
思わず使い慣れた方の言葉を選んでしまったんじゃないのか。
Are you sure you didn't say words you were more used to? The value of human life had been weighing on Shuhei's mind even before he got to the conference room and heard the briefing. More specifically, he had been wondering how lightly the game would treat the players' lives. If everything was going according to the manager's design, their lives were equally as valuable as the players themselves. In other words, they wouldn't let them die so easily, not after all the trouble they went through to bring them all here. So long as they didn't try to take their collars off or leave their designated playing field, they were given free rein to do as they pleased. Which was another way of saying that harming other players was just another thrilling aspect of the game in the eyes of the organizers. This was all within Shuhei's expectations, so none of that worried him. However, the big concern was whether that concept was considered a consequence or the goal of the game by the organizers. Shuhei had pondered it heavily on his own, but he hadn't managed to come up with any decisive conclusions. But once he'd arrived at the conference room and met the other players, Shuhei's doubts were slowly confirmed. In other words, there had been far too little tension in the air. Though they understood their lives were on the line here, the only thing they'd been cautious and scared of was the callers. Few of them were wary of their fellow players. It appeared the briefing had made them wary of the game itself, but the guards were too low around each other. As for why, the answer was simple. They had no reason to fight each other to clear the game. That was the conclusion Shuhei had reached. Put in other terms, their clear conditions held no incentives to kill or harm other players. Indeed, while Shuhei's own clear condition was a tricky one, all he had to do was help the prime number players fulfill their conditions. Haruna's sudden disappearance had him worried about her condition, but at any rate, it was highly likely that 5 of the 7 players of the briefing didn't have any harmful conditions. Meaning it was very unlikely the players would kill each other of their current clear conditions. There was only one way to overturn that mindset, changing the rules partway through. Which would explain why so many players had died in the previous game.
答えられないなら質問を変えよう。
If you can't answer that, then I'll change the question.
さっきの説明会で俺たちに伏せられている情報はあるのか？
Was there information you hid from us in the briefing?
例えばゲームの開催期間をあえて参加者に知らされていないように。
Things you couldn't let the players know about at the start of the game, for example.
ゲームを盛り上げるための演出として参加者にはあえて伏せられているルールがあるかってこと。
If so, that means you're deliberately hiding rules from us to make the game more exciting.
はい。先ほどの説明がこのゲームにおける全てのルールではありません。
You are correct. I did not tell you all the rules during the briefing.
決められたルールをプレイヤーが考察するのもゲームの醍醐味と考えています。
We consider player speculation over those hidden rules to be one of the true thrills of this game.
なるほど。
I see.
あんたのおかげでいくつかの疑問に確証が得られた。質問は以上だ。
You've helped me clear up several of my suspicions. That's all I wanted to ask. Shuhei returned to this room not expecting to get much in the way of answers from the administrator, but the visit proved far more fruitful than he'd been anticipating.
お待ちください。
Please wait. The administrator called out to Shuhei over the speaker just as he was about to leave the room. And for the first time since they'd met, Shuhei heard a hint of emotion in the dispassionate man's voice.
今後の活躍に期待しています。どうかご検討を。
We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. We have high hopes for you. Shuhei felt a chill. He could tell that on the other end of the speaker, the man was flashing a sadistic smile, full of curiosity. Shuhei left the room and then...
お疲れ様でした、藤田先輩。
Well done, Fujita. To find none other than Tsukasa waiting out in the hallway, leaning against the wall as he applauded Shuhei. Though he was surprised, Shuhei let none of that show on his face and turned to Tsukasa.
何の用だ？
What do you want?
僕も藤田先輩と同じことを考えていたんですよ。だから誰もいなくなったところでこうして戻ってきたというわけです。
I had the same idea you did. So once everyone else had left, I came back here.
そうしたら俺がいたと。都合の悪いところを見られたな。
And then you found me already inside. You caught me at quite a bad moment.
下手すれば立場が逆になったかもしれませんね。
Had I screwed up, our positions might have been reversed. An innocent smile graced Tsukasa's lips. He was legitimately enjoying this. His attitude, along with the way he referred to Shuhei, was a clear sign that he was giving Shuhei special treatment.
まあいい。で、何か用か？
Well, whatever. Anyway, what do you want?
単刀直入に言います。
I'll get straight to the point.
僕と手を組みませんか？
Will you team up with me?
お前と？
With you?
大輔の誘いは断ったのに、俺には誘いを持ちかけるのか？
You rejected Daisuke's offer, yet you're asking me?
あの人と組むなんて論外ですよ。まず信用できない。
Teaming up with him is out of the question. First of all, I can't trust him.
必要最低限の情報収集もしないからそこに考察が生まれない。だから先のことを考えて行動できていない。
He doesn't gather any more information than is necessary, so nothing good will come from his speculating. So he cannot act in accordance to planning ahead.
正直クリア条件の交換の話を持ち出された時は鳥肌が立ちました。
Honestly, I got the chills when he suggested revealing our clear conditions to each other.
確かに軽率な行動ではあったな。
True, it was a rather rash course of action.
ええ、どうしてあの集団の中に藤田先輩がとどまっているのか全く理解できません。
Yes, I simply cannot fathom why you're staying with a group like them.
僕はね、藤田先輩、あなたのような人がいることに心底驚いているんですよ。
You see, Fujita, I truly am shocked that a person like you is here.
このゲームについて僕並みに理解している人なんてまずいないと思っていた。
I never thought there would be anyone else who understood this game the way I do.
説明会が始まる前に僕が上野真理子って女に話したことを覚えていますか？
Do you recall to how I spoke to Mariko Ueno before the briefing started?
これが組織的な犯罪行為で主催者の連中はそれを実行するだけの資金や力を持ち合わせているという話だ。
You mentioned how it was an organized crime, and how the organized would have needed a lot of money and power to pull this off, I believe.
そうです。このゲームの主催者はおそらく財界や宗教、裏社会の重鎮、もしかしたら政界にまで力が及ぶ連中かもしれない。
That's right. The organizers of this game are likely leaders in the financial world, religion, the criminal underworld, and maybe in the political world.
どちらにせよ、この世のあらゆる快楽を享受し尽くした連中がさらなるスリルを求めた末に行き着いたもの。
Whatever the case, there are those who have had their fill of all the pleasures the world has to offer, and sought even greater thrills.
それがこのゲームという名のエンターテインメントか。正気の沙汰じゃないな。
And the result was this form of entertainment they called the game. Such an insane idea. The admin who they'd spoken to during the briefing clearly been trying to make the show more exciting, meaning that the organizers were showing this game to someone. It was an unbelievable notion, but the show had an audience, with Shuhei and the rest as literal pawns in their game.
あくまで推測の域は出ません。だけど、もし僕が主催者の立場だったら、それ相応の理由付けが必要だと思っただけです。
Of course, this is merely speculation. If I was just thinking that if I were one of the organizers, I would require a rationalization like that.
まあ、その話はいいんですよ。問題は、あの会話の最中、藤田先輩だけが僕の見解に動揺を見せなかったことです。
Well, let's leave that aside. The issue is that you were the only one who didn't seem all that disturbed when I was discussing my point of view.
それはなぜか。答えは簡単です。
Why was that? The answer is simple.
藤田先輩はすでに僕と同じ過程を経てゲームクリアのために行動を開始していたからだ。違いますか？
Because you've begun to take action to clear this game through the same process as me. Am I wrong?
否定はしない。
I won't deny that.
エリア内に設置された無数の監視カメラ、PDA と首輪の仕掛けにしたって。
When you consider all those cameras placed all around the playing field, as well as the setup with the PDAs and collars,
かなりの技術力と準備期間、それに予算がかかっている。
it becomes obvious that it requires a considerable amount of technical prowess, time, and money to prepare.
俺たち14人を同時期に拉致してきた手腕といい、周到に計算された上で実行された計画だ。
The simultaneous kidnapping of 14 people ourselves must have been carried out under a carefully conceived plan, especially when taking into account the manpower needed to achieve that.
それに気づいたか？さっき見せられたあの映像のナレーターはこう言っていた。
And there was also what the narrator for those images said. Did you notice it?
そこにある死体は前回この会場で行われたゲームの参加者たちのものだって。
The bodies you see before you are participants of the previous game held in this place.
ええ、気づいてました。
Yes, I noticed.
この会場でという言い回しを見るにここと似たようなゲーム会場が 他にもいくつかある可能性が高いってことですよね。
Judging from the use of the words that place, there's a major possibility that there are numerous other stages much like this one.
そういうことだ。だとしたらゲームの運営をしている組織の規模は想像を絶する。
That's right. Which means the organization running these games must be bigger beyond our wildest imaginations.
ゲームからの離脱はおそらく不可能だ。悔しい話だが俺たちはこのくだらない茶番に付き合ってクリアを目指すしかない。
Escaping the game will likely be impossible. I hate to say it, we have no choice but to go along with this ridiculous farce and clear the game.
さもなくば生きては帰れないよ。
If we don't, then we won't be getting out of here alive.
僕も同意見です。そこで問題となるのは、主催者が僕らを生かして返すつもりがあるか否かでした。
I agree. And the problem there is if the organizers really intend to let us go on home with our lives or not.
それは藤田先輩と運営のやりとりで彼らの思考は理解できた。
After hearing your conversation with the admin, I think I figured out what they have in mind.
やはり僕らが生きてここから生還するためには彼らの言う通りゲームのクリアを目指すのが最善だと判断します。
I've concluded that the best option to live and make it out of here is to do as they say and work to clear the game.
その上で優秀なプレイヤーと協力関係を築くことができればより優位に事を運べると考えたわけです。
Furthermore, I also believe that I would have a higher chance of succeeding if I teamed up with other skilled players.
あなたの行動力と洞察力、論理的に考察する力は僕のパートナーとしてふさわしい。
Your dynamism, insight, and ability to consider things logically would make you the perfect partner for me.
買いかぶりすぎだな。状況から判断できるごく一般的な考察をしただけだ。
You're overestimating me. All I've determined from this situation are some rather generic speculations.
いいえ、これは正当な評価ですよ。
No, this is a proper estimate. Scott's tone was smooth and casual, as though he were talking about the test he had aced. He carried the aura of one who was assured and secure in his own victory.
いくつか聞いておこうか。
Sorry, in his own superiority. Mind if I ask you some things?
今後クリア条件がより過激な内容に変更される。例えば直接プレイヤーの殺傷を目的とするようなものになる場合だ。
Let's assume that our clear conditions really will change into something far more extreme. Like, say, a condition that involves directly killing another player.
仮に現状をファースト条件と呼ぼう。それがセカンドへ移行するトリガーは何だと思う？
For the purpose of this hypothesis, let's call our current conditions the first conditions. What do you think would trigger their change into the second conditions?
そうですね。それこそ憶測の域は出ませんが。
A good question. There's nothing more than speculation.
一定時間の経過、もしくはファースト条件のクリアといったところでしょうか。
But I believe that it would be triggered after a certain amount of time has passed, or maybe even when the first condition is cleared.
現状で誰も死なずに生還できるような条件が全員に与えられていた場合、
In the event that we have all currently been given conditions that do not require the deaths of others and permit for everyone's survival,
プレイヤーの生死がトリガーになっている可能性もあります。
then it's possible that a player's death could be that trigger.
認識は大体同じだな。
That's more or less what I was thinking.
僕は当面自分のクリア条件を満たすことと同時にそのトリガーを解明することに専念するつもりです。
At the present, I intend to devote myself to filling my clear condition while clarifying what that trigger could be.
そのために藤田先輩と協力関係を結んでおきたい。あなたとならそれが可能だという自信があります。
I'd like to team up with you for that purpose. If we work together, I'm sure we can accomplish that.
もちろんそのためには互いのプレイヤーナンバーやクリア条件を明かさなくてはならない。
Of course, this will require us to reveal our player numbers and clear conditions to each other.
条件が競合していては話になりませんからね。
If our conditions are incompatible, I'll have to rescind the offer after all.
むやみに自身の情報を明かすことにはお前も否定的だったはずだが。
I thought you were also opposed to recklessly revealing your own information, though.
あなたは本当にしたたかな人ですね。この後に及んでまだ僕を試そうとしている。
You truly are a stubborn one. You're still testing me at this point.
何のことだ。
What do you mean?
藤田先輩は個人情報の重要性を理由に互いのクリア条件を交換することに否定的でした。でも本音は違う。
You claimed you were against revealing our clear conditions because of how valuable personal information is. Well, that's not your real reason.
あの場にいた人間が共にゲームクリアを目指すパートナーに値するか否かの方が大事だったんじゃないですか。
In reality, it's because you felt it was more important to determine if anyone else there would make a good partner for clearing this game, right?
だけどそれを言ったら彼らに角が立ちますからね。あえて言い回しを変えてごまかした。
But saying that out loud would have made things stormy with them, so you tricked them by using a different choice of words.
別に追求はしません。僕は藤田先輩のそういう部分を評価しているという話です。
Oh, I'm not hounding you or anything. I'm just saying I value that part of you.
さて、それでは本題に戻りましょう。
Now then, let's get back on topic.
互いにクリア条件を公開するリスクを冒してなお、あなたは協力関係を結ぶにふさわしい人間だと僕は判断した。
I've determined that it would be worth it to seek a partnership with you, to the point where I'm willing to risk revealing my clear conditions so long as you do the same.
藤田先輩、僕と手を組みませんか？
Thus I ask you, Shuhei Fujita, will you team up with me?
答えはノーだ、司。俺はお前とは手を組めない。
The answer's no, Tsukasa. I won't team up with you.
意外な返答ですね。
I must say, I wasn't expecting that.
条件が競合したならともかく、花から相手にされないとは思っていませんでした。
I can understand if our conditions turn out to be incompatible, but I never thought you would turn me down from the start.
単にこのゲームを生き残りたいだけなら迷わずお前と手を組んだだろう。
If all I cared about was surviving this game, then I would have accepted your offer in a heartbeat.
だから俺には他にやらなければいけないことがある。悪く思うなよ。
But there's other things I have to do. Don't take it personally.
この状況下で自分の命以上に優先される目的があると？
Are you saying there's something you value more than your own life in this situation?
ああ、事情を説明してもいいが、多分お前には理解できないよ。
Yeah, I could explain to you, but I doubt you'd ever understand.
よもや義理や道徳の類とは言いませんよね。
Surely it's not some type of sense or duty or morals.
ある意味ではそれに当てはまることだ。
It applies to both in a sense.
理解できませんね。これでも人を見る目には自信があったんですけど。
You're right, I cannot understand. And here I thought I had such a good eye for people too.
あえて理由を挙げるとすれば、俺はお前よりほんの少しだけ人間を信じている。
If I had to give a reason, I'd say that I think I'm just a little bit more human than you are.
そうですか。
I see.
あれ、司くん。
Huh? Skasa? Surprised by the sound of that voice, Shuhei and Skasa turned around.
吹石先輩。
ことみ、どうしてここに？
Kotomi, what are you doing here?
どうしてって、しゅうちゃんが遅いから様子を見に来たんだけど。
What do you mean? You were taking a long time, so I came to see how you were doing.
もしかして二人で大切な話でもしてたの？
Oh, were the two of you talking about something important?
いや、大したことじゃない。司、
No, just some small talk. Hey, Skasa.
なんです？
Yes?
雨が降るんだよな。
It's going to rain, right?
は
Huh?
雨が降るんだよな。
It's going to rain, isn't it?
い。ええ、そんな予報でしたね。
Yes, that's what the forecast says. Once he realized that Shuhei was speaking in metaphors to avoid alerting Kotomi of their true discussion, Skasa nodded.
それは藤田先輩も予想していたことでしょ。
You're predicting there'll be rain too, right, Fujita?
ああ、だけど 下手な予報でみんなを慌てさせたくないんだ。
Yeah. But I don't want to make everyone panic over a bad forecast like that.
だから雨よけを準備しようと思う。
So I think of setting up shelter for the rain.
一応そっちはそっちで別に傘を作っておいてもらえないか。
Just to be sure, why don't you make your own umbrella too?
雨が降ってくる前にそれぞれでできるだけ水を防ぐ用意をしておこう。
We should make sure we both prepare ourselves so we can stay as dry as possible once it starts.
まあ別に構いませんよ。
Well, I suppose I don't mind.
もしも気が変わったらこっちに来てもらっていいので。
You're welcome to come over if you ever change your mind.
その時は雨具などを貸しますよ。
If you do, I'll lend you my own rain gear.
わかった。
Got it. Tsukasa waved his hand and walked past Kotomi. Deep down, Shuhei was grateful to Tsukasa for playing along so she could remain blissfully ignorant of the second conditions. But at the same time, he cursed that he was now in Tsukasa's debt. Kotomi regards Shuhei with a puzzled expression.
何を話してたかよくわかんないんだけど、雨が降るの？
I don't really get what you guys were talking about, but it's gonna rain?
ああ、天気予報でそう言ってた。
Yeah, that's what the weather forecast said.
それより司に会ったことは大輔たちには黙っててくれるか。
Anyway, think you keep my encounter with Tsukasa a secret from the others?
別にいいけど、どうして？
Well, sure, I don't mind, but why?
さっき司に一緒に来ないかって誘われたんだ。
Tsukasa just invited me to team up with him,
けど断った。
but I turned him down.
なんで？
Huh? Why?
俺以外のやつとは組みたくないみたいだったからな。ここでみんなと別行動は取りたくない。
Because it didn't seem like he wanted to team up with anyone but me. I don't want to separate from the others in this situation.
そうなんだ。それじゃあしょうがないよね。
I see. I guess that's the way it had to be.
本当はみんなで協力できればいいんだけどね。
Though to be honest, I wish we could all just team up.
まあ仕方ないさ。こんな状況だし、人それぞれに考え方は違う。無理もないだろう。
Can't really blame the others given the situation. Everyone's got their own mindsets. It's hardly unreasonable. Yeah.
俺たちは俺たちでクリアを目指そう。その途中で司と協力することだってあるかもしれない。
So let's just focus on clearing our own conditions instead. Maybe we can find a way to team up with Tsukasa along the way.
そっか。そうだよね。
I see. Yeah, you're right.
あ、
Thanks. Of course, it was just as likely that they'd end up as enemies. But Shuhei didn't dare voice that thought in front of Kotomi.
あれ？大輔くんと初音ちゃん、二人で何やってるんだろう。
Okay, I'm going to stop it here for now. So, yeah. Bunch of action in the first part, and explanations in the second part, but we've mostly cleared the introduction by now, so the game proper is about to start, I would say. So we'll see from here on out what they're going to do in order to survive, and how the other players will work with each other or work against each other, and how their speculations will come into play. So until next time, I'll see you all later.